Welcome to T-News 9 channel. Novel, The 190 IQ Killer Chapter 1, the first masterpiece New Arden never woke up gently. Its gray stone towers, smog-soaked streets, and the distant wail of sirens blended into a single restless symphony, one that had always foreshadowed tragedy long before it arrived. On this particular morning, a call cracked through the routine noise. Marcus Haile, a real estate magnate, had fallen from the 27th floor of the Westbridge luxury residences. Preliminary report: accidental fall. Detective Ethan Graves, widely known in the police department by the nickname Mad Dog, walks into the luxury apartment with senses sharper than any forensic tool. The moment he stepped through the doorway, he sensed something was wrong. The scene was too obvious. Everything looked too natural. Worse, it was too perfect. A glass lay shattered on the floor, its fracture too precise, as if carved with something finer than a scalpel. A nearly invisible filament dipped from the ceiling fan to a heavy ceramic pot, nudged ever so slightly out of place. And on the balcony, the broken railing perfectly matched a structural weak point that only an engineer or a professional predator would know about. Ethan stood still, letting the room speak to him. Piece by piece, the fragments aligned in his mind, forming a pattern he had seen only in theory, a meticulously designed domino sequence. A machine disguised as coincidence. "This wasn't an accident," he murmured. "This is a masterpiece." Across the street, inside a quiet cafe overlooking the Westbridge Tower, a lone figure stirred. A man dressed in black, wearing a stark white mask. With a forced, unnaturally wide smile, the mask itself appearing unusually cheerful. Between gloved fingers, he toyed with a single white Lego brick, turning it as if savoring a private symphony only he could hear. "Mad Dog," the masked man whispered, voice calm and amused. The man muttered to himself, "How many pieces can you find?" He stood up, left a Lego brick behind, and walked away silently. Everything seemed harmless, meaningless. Only he understood. The man behind the mask was known only as K, and today marks the beginning of the masterpieces he has been preparing for many years. Novel, The 190 IQ Killer Chapter 2, Nightfall Dossier. Ethan returned to the investigation room, where stacks of reports piled up like small mountains on his desk. Lieutenant Ramos handed him a cup of cold coffee. "Please don't let this become an obsession for you anymore. Was just an accident involving an old billionaire and a slippery balcony with a broken railing. Case closed." "No," Ethan said flatly. "Someone exploited the butterfly effect." Ramos squinted. "Someone? You think there's a perpetrator?" Ethan opened his laptop and played a simulation he created from the evidence. A gentle breeze blew into the ceiling fan, gives the curtain cords tightened, gives a ceramic vase fell, gives a jarring noise, gives. Marcus instinctively turned, gives took a step back, gives his strategically positioned weak point on the railing collapsed. A chain reaction too perfect to be random. Ramos exhaled loudly. "Christ, you're telling me someone planned this days in advance?" "That's not something an ordinary person could do," Ethan replied. "That person must be someone who enjoys planning and also has an extremely high IQ. He clicked on another file, an old case Ethan had informally investigated months earlier. A violinist killed by falling stage lights at the perfect angle. A traffic cop crushed under a billboard swaying just enough to collapse in a strong gust of wind. Cases dismissed as freak accidents. All with one impossible pattern. No fingerprints, no DNA, no motive, no traces." Ramos folded his arms and pondered what Ethan had just said. "You think one person did all that? Sounds like a ghost." "A ghost who leaves white Lego bricks," Ethan said. Ramos was speechless at what Ethan said. "Have you found any clues yet?" Ethan nodded. No one in the department knew it yet, but Ethan had seen that Lego once before at another accident scene that had haunted him for months. And now he had a name. Or rather, a letter. K, a phantom sculptor of death. Novel, The 190 IQ Killer Chapter 3, The Smiling Shadow. That night, fog drifted across New Arden like a slow-moving tide. Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that someone had anticipated his next move. Watching from the corners of every lamppost, an unsettling feeling of always being behind everything. Meanwhile, in a forgotten warehouse district at the city's edge, Kay stood before a wall filled with diagrams, circuits, blueprints, topographical maps, interconnected with string like a mural of madness and genius intertwined. The man in the white mask grinned broadly at the chaos. He was excitedly preparing for his next game. Kay touched one of the pinned photos, Marcus Hawley. Then another, the violinist. A feeling of exhilaration at the masterpieces he had created for each victim, a perfect way to die. Another, a man who drowned in a bathtub when the water overflow valve failed at the exact wrong moment. Accident. Accident. To the world, it was probably just an unintentional incident. But to Kay, they are works of art. He held up a notebook, each page meticulously documented with theories of human reflexes, probability calculations, habitual behaviors of victims or minute details of their lives, stress points and structures prone to unintended accidents, all presented like a masterpiece of art. Kay whispered to himself, each soft voice a counter-argument, determining which plan was the most perfect. Every action creates another. Every life is balanced on invisible threads, so even a small mistake can become a tragedy. And I am the one who decides their life and death. He then reached for a crate. Inside lay dozens of masks, each identical, each with the same frozen smile. Kay selected one and placed it carefully into a bag. Tomorrow, he will begin staging his next work of art, and he knew exactly who his target audience was. The best thing about a work of art is having a loyal audience, right? Novel, The 190 IQ Killer. Chapter 4, The Instinct of a Mad Dog. Ethan barely slept. His instinct screamed louder than any evidence. This wasn't an accident, it was a murder. The following morning, he returned to Westbridge, this time disregarding the usual police protocols for solving a case. On the balcony, he squatted beside the broken railing. The structure hadn't weakened naturally. It seemed some hand had deliberately weakened it at precisely the right moment. This metal shows signs of micro-corrosion at precise points, as if someone had chemically treated it a few days earlier so that it could withstand normal use but would fail under sudden, intense pressure. Ethan muttered, "He's not an ordinary assassin. He's an artist in the art of killing, a rival who knows how to commit crimes but doesn't reveal his identity when the accident happens." Inside the apartment, he noticed a faint smudge on the inside of the ceiling fan, a lubricant commonly used for microscopic gears. Rare. Specialized. He took a sample. In the building across the street, a masked man was watching him through binoculars. The light reflecting from the binoculars helped Ethan spot him. Ethan turned around. No one was there, but there was something on the floor, a white Lego brick, placed where Ethan was sure to see it. His heart was pounding. It wasn't carelessness. It was a sign of a murderer. It was a message. "I've been here," Ethan whispered. There are eyes that are always watching. Novel, The 190 IQ Killer. Chapter 5, The Second Accident. By noon, the city was buzzing with another tragedy. A subway worker found dead in an underground tunnel after a mechanical failure. A loose cable, an unexpected spark, and a catastrophic short circuit. The police sent a special investigation team there. Upon hearing the news, Ethan didn't wait for orders but immediately rushed to the scene of the crime. He was already on the train. The tunnel reeked of metal and was incredibly hot. Sparks still flickered in the darkness like frightened fireflies. The victim, Nolan Price, lay near a maintenance panel charred black. Official scene assessment. Accident caused by old power lines. No suspects or murder weapon found at the scene. Ethan knelt down beside the sign, examining every suspicious detail. This is a crime scene where, instinctively, a police officer feels this is no coincidence. The screws had been loosened in a specific way, a way that allowed the panel to hold its position for hours before, falling down precisely as Nolan stepped onto it. The cable's insulation is damaged by corrosion over time, which is normal. This often happens when technicians perform unsafe work procedures, but it's quite a coincidence. It's like designed, timed, perfectly disguised. A routine maintenance job that's normal for the victim, but it's also the boundary between life and death that the killer sets for their prey. And then Ethan saw it, wedged inside a cable bundle, half melted but unmistakable, a white Lego brick. Ethan clenched his jaw, a groan escaping from his throat in a voice filled with anger. It's him again. Kay was escalating. And this time, he didn't just want Ethan to find that piece. He wanted to prove himself even more and let everyone know it was his work of art. He wanted Ethan to understand that he was always right behind him, even understanding him better than Ethan himself. Ethan whispered into the darkness, "Fine. If it's a game you want, I'll play." In a remote location, inside an abandoned factory, a man wearing a white mask smiled as he watched Ethan from a surveillance camera. He didn't speak. But behind the mask, he was actually smiling broadly because things had become more interesting now.